Hello, citizens of the Reject Nation. We are going to watch Andor, Episode 4 today. John, how are you?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Sorry, I mean, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what the hell you were doing.
Sorry about that.
Guys, I'm excited for this. Easily the most watched Star Wars show ever to have ever existed. But yeah, if you can leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. Also subscribe and click that notification bell to get notified when our reaction for Episode 5 is up. The Empire is so fat and greedy and obese, and they need a weight management plan.
They need to join Noom.
Perhaps need a personal trainer if they were to conquer the galaxy.
Diet and exercise, Empire. It's not that hard.
That line is that he says in that episode. Yeah. And full interaction watch alongs every single with your own copy. Available for our Super Sexy Rejects at our Patreon page, along with a bunch of other shows that we cover exclusively. I'm the team of Prepper. You guys are all right. Let's get to it.
Set for Aldani.
Calculating for Aldani.
Are they coming? Do as I say.
Calculations complete.
Punch it.
Either I drop you somewhere and you start running, or you come with me and help with something important. And of course, you could try and kill me and take the ship.
Option C.
I fought in Mimban when I was 16. 2 years of it. Straight out of prison into the mud. I'm one of 50 that survived. And who did it turn out we were fighting? Ourselves. Oof. So please.
You were on the ground in Mimban for 6 months. You came in as a cook. Said I know you. I know the outside. I know what people tell me when I ask.
I know your hatred.
I didn't risk my ass for the Starpath unit. I came for you.
That was a MacGuffin.
What would we be stealing?
The quarterly payroll for an entire Imperial sector.
This guy's always going to be tasked to steal documents.
That's how you become an intelligence officer.
A stolen Imperial Starpath unit was recovered at the scene.
Those responsible?
Unknown, sir.
Oh shit, she's helping.
Elaborate on these added protection requests for traffic to the Abrian sector.
She's on the good team.
Yeah. Just gotta keep her cool. Too wound up.
White girls.
White girl.
Think of a name. Think of a name for yourself.
Cassian Andor.
For the next 5 days, you'll be clan.
I like the beard.
Yeah, bring it back.
It's a Quati signet. Blue Kyber, Skystone. Don't take less than 50,000 for it. Just know it will always be worth more to me. I want it back when this is over.
Against 200,000.
Giving you my word.
Wow, that looks beautiful.
Want one of those?
It's very Lord of the Rings feel to her.
Let's go, Galadriel.
They built this whole mountain for this show.
We've been eating roots and sleeping on rocks for this rebellion, and now you've got a mercenary on board!
I heard that.
Take him in and lie about how it's come to pass. You plug him in as a replacement for anyone who goes down along the way. In the next 3 days, if for any reason... Look at me!
Oh.
You got 3 days. Something feels off, something turns. Someone starts to fold. You step up, you lead, you cancel the mission.
Damn.
And if he's the problem?
Well, that's the advantage of renting him. He's disposable.
This is the Aaron Sorkin episode.
Yeah.
Clem!
He's hot, right? Hotter than you thought? Huh? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Bet you regret trying to reject him now.
Yeah.
You will leave here and be escorted with haste to the transfer center, where you'll be issued with any personal items that the Imperial inspectors have had time to inventory.
Oh, man.
Take solace in this. You will not be replaced. You've rung the final bell on corporate independence as of this morning.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Is your arm something I need to worry about?
No.
Well, it's a long walk. Through the night.
He'll walk with his legs.
If I must.
He told me you were the boss, and you wouldn't like my being here.
He is something we will never discuss. When we get to camp, we're going to tell them this was my idea and we've been planning it all the while. We never mention him.
Don't talk about my father.
Yeah.
He told me about the payroll, not the garrison.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You're taking on an Imperial armory?
Are you not joining us?
Us? How many of us are there?
Now we are 7.
7. 7 against the garrison.
Save your wind! This is a long walk.
Hey, hold on.
Oh, TIE fighters.
Wow.
They won't be back today.
It's such a well-shot show.
Mm-hmm.
Would you fuck me? I'd me.
It's tucking in, my guy. Wow, that's a great wig.
An amazing wig.
Accomplished makeup artist.
Putting on the character.
I want the full Ferrex report.
It's my sector.
An Imperial Star Path unit was stolen from the Steerguard Naval Yard and found at the scene. That gives me jurisdictional access.
You've been here, what, just over a year? You might want to steady the ladder before you start climbing.
I'm not looking for career advice.
You're what, a woman?
Fall here. You fall alone.
Are you denying my request?
For the second time today.
Fine. I'll take it to Major Partakas.
Don't look down.
You better think what you're gonna say, because she's coming down now.
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes.
There's 2.
They'll be here in about 1 hour. Ooh. Devil goats.
Live deliciously.
You know, if you take your hood off, you'll look more presentable, more welcoming.
Yeah, not like some kind of hoodlum.
It'll give us critical redundancy in all areas.
It's good leave for surprises.
That's Skeen, Nemik, and Cinta.
It's hot, isn't it?
Can I speak with you?
Let's get Clem settled in.
Good to have you, Clem. We'll take all the help we can get.
See, there's a team player.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. Oh. These Star Wars airports look so stressful.
Yeah, I wonder what the security protocols are like.
Mother.
Mommy.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I was not expecting this very realistic touch.
I know.
Damn.
Senator Mon Mothma's here.
Finally, been waiting.
What a pleasure to see you.
You as well, Luthen. Sorry to be so late. It's always right when you're leaving, everyone remembers all the things they meant to bother you with.
You see the ceremonial variety in many places, but this is the real thing. It's a unique gift for most, but it's a treasure for the true aficionado.
Break down thumbnails for everyone.
Ooh. Arrow?
I'm trying to expand parents' taste beyond fighting implements. Is there anything else that might interest
Well,
you?
your timing is excellent. I have something very special that just came in.
In the back. Talk for real now.
14,000 years old.
The sun goddess and a serpent from the overworld sharing the same mouth. If you can't deliver, I need to know.
Do you think I'm not trying?
I never think that. But I need to start planning if you're no longer coming through for it.
I found someone I think can help me.
Someone who? To bring into the circle?
Senator.
We need funding, not more people to worry about.
Don't lecture me on vulnerability. No one's more at risk than I am. You think I haven't thought this through? I'd be the first one to fall.
Money where your mouth is.
It's a daring choice, but I trust you'll have the courage to turn back if it should be a bit much.
I appreciate that. You'll be here?
Are they still talking about the lie, or?
No, this is all about artifacts.
We've been mapping the old trail for him, but that'll stop tomorrow. I'm pushing all our attention toward the lowlands.
How long do we have you?
I've got a midnight inspection.
Let's get going.
I love the contrasts in this episode. From like...
Bonsai.
Bonsai.
Dinner for the governor.
What governor?
The governor of Hannah.
My regimental mate, that, Governor?
That's tonight?
It's on your calendar. I added it a month ago after we discussed it.
Who else is coming?
Seating charts is there.
Ars, Danga, Sly Moore from the Vizier's private chamber?
Vader, Palpatine.
These people hate me. They spend every day trying to undo anything I've touched.
Well, perhaps tomorrow they'll think twice.
Not right now, please. Go.
I'm doing this for you.
Don't seat them near me.
Oh, I've taken care of that. You're at the boring end of the table. These people are fun.
Oh, we should find some Gorman guests for tonight and see how amused they are. Your fun friends just cut off their shipping lanes yesterday. Don't do this again.
There's room. You bought me a present.
It's going back.
Must everything be boring and sad?
They need to go to space counseling.
It's a suicide run.
That's why they only keep a 40-man regiment in the garrison.
Because they know no one's stupid enough to try it.
No one but us.
Put him to the test.
The Aldanis gather in this valley for a celestial event they call Mak'ani Bredani, the Eye of Aldani. They'd hike for weeks to get here just to see it from the sacred land.
To see what?
Imagine 50 meteor showers all at once.
Cool.
Until the Eye, a window to the galaxy, forms over the horizon.
You've seen this?
I've been here almost 7 years. I've seen it twice.
Sounds beautiful.
It's not the event it used to be. Now they've got everyone relocated. It's a pretty sad affair, but...
No, it's pretty corporate.
It's a recurrent band of crystallized noctilucent microdensities, billions of crystals. Very heavy, but small and unstable. As the planet passes through the belt, they swarm the atmosphere, heat up, and explode.
You're taking the wonder out of it, man.
It's a thing of beauty.
English, please.
And the sky is chaos.
That's where you gotta go.
Into the chaos.
They won't know where we came from, and if we can beat the clock, we'll be gone before they even know what happened. Now, you've got a lot to learn and very little time to do it, so what we need to know is, are you in all the way?
Let's get to it.
I'm seeing signs of coordinated activity over a number of sectors.
What activity?
Similar items of interest, repeated methods, gut instinct.
You came to us from enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Here, we act on vetted and verified information.
Bureaucracy.
Alert me when this materializes into something more definite. Until then, confine future activities to your sectors. Thank you, Lieutenant.
A little smirk.
It's like when a street detective joins the FBI.
Yeah, exactly.
On a positive note, I was impressed with your detention numbers from Sev Tok. Far above the quota. I may be sending more of that sort of work your way.
Thank you, sir.
We're done.
Let's imprison some people.
The actors in the show are so good.
I know. Like everyone.
That's the Rono freighter specs and the console layout. You get done with that? That's a detailed map of the garrison. That's an Aldani phrase book.
They're going to teach him how to say something stupid.
Can I eat my food?
You'll eat, you'll let Cinta check the bandage, and you'll have learned all that by morning. I'll take the first watch.
This guy's just so not trusted.
I know.
Susanna White.
And Dan Gilroy on the script.
All right, another solid development in the Andor adventures. This is very, very great stuff. I'm liking the way it's all being fleshed out because you got a good sense of it with Syril, but then here with the ISP officers, it's like at this point in the timeline, they're exploring when, you know, the Empire was just a new form of law and order, you know, a new form of government. And you got people who respect government. You got people who respect rankings and stuff. So, yeah, I just want to climb the ranking. I got to do my best.
Yeah, I got to play the game.
It's like people in all parts of the world when it comes to serving their country, you know, serving their government. That it's not, they're not even really getting caught up in, is this right or wrong? You got to serve justice. And you got to do what's best. And you got to work your way up the corporate ladder.
Yeah,
you know?
and you trust the words coming from above you that that's the right, you know, method to go about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't quite, because obviously there was no real rebellion yet, and I wasn't sure how far along we were in the origins of the rebellion. You know, because I'm sure there's other people who don't like the Empire, but this is a very forceful one that they're a proactive one that they're working on, and to see how just this is just one tiny unit who has to pull this off. Like I like Rogue One, with you're focusing on a small group of people, but the rebellion's they're already going toe to toe with the Empire. You know, like yes, smaller in numbers, but they're already established as the rebellion. And here you don't even have that established. So I love that tense scene when they're like, I believe that there's a rebellion that's about to start.
Yeah.
And I've been able to coordinate these all together. You know, it's interesting because Tony Gilroy, you know, the way he's always talked about this show is like he's always just wanted to do his own thing and not really worry about, you know, Easter eggs and connecting this to Star Wars, like to like the timeline and filling in gaps and all those things.
Yeah.
And yet it really is. It's doing all of that and stronger than a lot of these other ones instead of just nostalgia winks. And hey, we got to reference this or we got to fill this. And it actually is a very fascinating detail exploration of it all. And that is also enveloped in a very character-driven narrative that's very tense. And like the dialogue of this, like Dan Gilroy wrote this one. And the dialogue of this I thought was great. There was such a great rhythm and suspicion and debates happening like with everyone in a very reclusive form of Syril, where his whole identity has just been stripped from him, everything he's ever worked for. And so I want to see more of that. And yeah, I just love all the human touches, even like Mothma getting to see her husband and the friction in their relationship. As I know we like joke around and stuff, but you know, they keep talking, so it's usually just one lines that we have to spew out a lot of time. And her character established. It's like it's always been told she's important, but we haven't really gotten time to really germinate in why she's so integral and important, unless you like want to read further. And read like in terms of the live action medium, you really get this opportunity now to see that it's probably a clash of ideologies with her personal life. You know, is gonna sacrifice a relationship with what seems like a great husband.
Really a catch. A really supportive guy.
Didn't seem pompous at all.
Or passive aggressive or anything like that. Yeah.
So I really, really love what they're doing, and I love the secrecy tone that's always here. You know, like you never know who's watching, you never know who's a traitor. You know,
I got a new driver. Who's suspicious?
Yeah. Like the whole camp, it's not Hope is here. It's everyone's, and then she has to lie to her people.
Yeah.
It's really well fleshed out, and like to put up that whole act that Luthen has to do just for like a few seconds. Like,
I love that contrast where he comes out and he's like so erudite and so fluid and happy, and it's all
hey, Mom.
Hey, got so many things to show you. Got artifacts.
Oh my God, is that a new necklace?
Oh my goodness, I've got an even better one to show you. You want to see some war implements?
Let's go to the back. Where's my money?
Yeah. Well, it's like it's funny in a way, but it's also like so real because it's like, you only have like a small amount of time. You got this driver to worry about. You've got one person to distract him, so we got to make this quick and we got to make it. Like I love that you can really feel both the personal tension and cost for everybody. Like everyone's in a really risky position. Everyone's really sticking their neck out. Like, it's about the hope way down the line at the moment is what I get from this show. Because right now everything's a little grungy and a little desolate. The Empire is certainly, in control, it seems like. And I love the little details about that when Cassian as Clem gets to, the base of this little rebellion group, and they're explaining about, these are the people who used to live here, and the Empire moved in. They discovered resources here, so they created this dam, and they pushed them all out, and then they, co-opted them into their, corporate villages and things like that, and have them, working and everything. And it's, it's derived from real conquest and real history that way, and so it feels palpable while also having, the wonder of the Star Wars aesthetic surrounding it. But no matter who you cut to in this episode, everybody is in a desperate position and in a position and where they really have to give just the right information, no more, no less. And it's a really tense spot to watch as all these characters sort of wriggle. And I liked the introduction of the group. Like, I feel like in the next episode we'll probably get, you know, at least to bond to them more, or to feel kind of that team dynamic as they carry out the mission. If in fact we go those 3 days
They're all gonna die.
I wonder.
Every season, every episode is a new team, and they all die.
That's the show. It's an anthology of ensembles.
Keep remaking Rogue One.
That's right. Yep, that's what you
We
came
gotta
here for.
steal these papers. We gotta upload it to the rebellion.
All right, now we're stealing some payroll. We're stealing some money here. Let's do that. Hey, here's Cassian made it out at least. Yeah, I hope some of them live, because at least a couple of them are actors that I feel like you would have around for a little while. But yeah, just like the perspectives. You said Aaron Sorkin, and I mean Tony Gilroy and Dan Gilroy certainly write these very thick and dense and very well-informed pieces, whether they be informed by something social or something more bureaucratic. But like both of those strengths I feel like are at play here, because there is so much that is in like political tension and just the chess game of information and intel. And even like it's fascinating the way they portray the Empire characters in this show. I mean, aside from like Syril and the crew being completely dressed down, and the Imperial officer basically being like, "Yeah, we're just gonna put all our own people in there. Your whole unit is pretty much done now." And even watching just like the tensions back and forth between, I'm blanking on her name like now, blonde lady, with the tight
blonde
bun,
ISP officer.
Blonde ISB officer. She like. I love wondering about a character like that, because part of me is like, she seems like she could be really intent on this, on her jurisdiction, and you know, finding out these disparate threads of rebellion that she's noticing and unraveling them, or she could be hiding in plain sight, you know. And I like, you know, that question mark. And they've, again, like across the board, like the casting is so great. Like everyone thus far, no matter how small the role, has left some kind of impact. It's a good ensemble. No,
Couldn't disagree more.
Nah, I hate him. I hate him. Recast the show halfway through.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying, John. And it's also beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful show at the same time.
All those mountains and valleys they built.
I'm bummed for the show.
Why?
Because it's reportedly not doing as strong as people hoped. I mean, look, anytime a new Star Wars show comes out, there's always a portion of the fan base that's screaming about why this show sucks.
And why it's tanking and dying.
Yeah, like every time. Even the big ones. There's always someone saying that. And this one, I think, is getting affected by that, because I do think that I don't even know exactly why, nor do I really want to. I have like I have a bunch of theories as to why perhaps this show is not the one that piqued the most interest for people. Maybe did not seem like, maybe could have seemed repetitive, but it's, to me, this is so different and so mature, and this is the adult version of Star. Like they've finally given it to us. Only the most childish thing that's happened here is when that animal peed on the droid in the first episode.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been very mature, and I love the interpersonal minglings, and this is, you know, like I have heard people complain saying like this is just slow and boring.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, it is a bit of an odd wrench to throw into the mix when you have shows like Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, where you crave the balance of having some of this in there.
And then your cool action and your satisfying character returns and all that.
Yeah, but there's always both those shows would have at least a scene or moments that were like so playing on the love of a Star Wars fan, you know, for the characters and certain action scenes and such. And like, There's been like one action scene out of 3. Like
I know.
1.5 action scenes out of
That's
4 episodes.
Yeah.
And I really don't mind that. I'm watching this and I'm like, man, I really like the way this show is handled. And I feel like Star Wars has, especially since Disney took it, like Rogue One has arguably been the most mature of them all. However, there is sort of this like family-friendly box that's been put in. And this Star Wars generally has been, but then now for it to be elevated to this level that feels so much more mature and character driven and about the nuances of the moments and stuff, and it does bum me out when I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of people who are coming around being like, that's boring and stuff.
Yeah.
And I do think it is conditioning, and the trailers made it look like it was just a nonstop thrill ride too.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, too, maybe the tandem of releases maybe isn't helping it either, because if this had come out like, if this had been the next one after Mandalorian, I feel like the conversation might be different.
Definitely.
Or people would be, just more open in general, because I feel like now you have much more ground to have to win back. And two, it's funny to me because also it doesn't seem like this show fosters the same kinds of debates, and it doesn't make the same decisions as most of the other shows have. So yeah, it's like all the more kind of bummery for that, where I'm like, man, if a lot of people who are sick of Star Wars and who have divorced Star Wars, you see a lot of those think pieces, if you give this one a shot.
There are those people who have like, I'm officially done after this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it's a bummer.
But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Because too, like I think that was a good point. Is in trying not to kowtow and to just pander, in trying not to pander to Star Wars as a fan base, and rather just taking the elements and the situation seriously and telling its own story within that. I feel like you do, manage to show. It shows how you can go back to these periods of time and justify doing so. Yeah. Like make it a worthwhile experience. And so yeah, it multiplies the bummer.
Yeah, because I'm looking forward to seeing how this mission goes down. I mean, obviously, I'm not worried about like Cassian Andor's life. So in a situation like with a prequel story, you do have to make the journey of what he's going through. Like, oh wow, when you see him in Rogue One, he's like, I think he's lieutenant by that point, and he's respected. And obviously, that there's not just one. The rebellion's not 7 people. There's obviously a lot more people out there. And even Luthen talks about it. Like, I was going to shut you guys down because there's fractions. They mentioned Saw Gerrera, so there's other portions already that are going to eventually have to come together. But I think it is a cool story to see this guy who is just from the streets of just a runaway, and then now you'll see him rise to like one of the top military people of the rebellion. And one of the most reliable people, someone who will be respected. I think that is and watch how he changes as a character through that. But he's also surrounded by a lot of very interesting characters, and a lot who are not mentioned at all in other things. So I'm like, damn, how many of these folks going to die?
A lot. Every new set of people Cassian has to link up with is going to die, except for him.
I think Mothma was talking about Bail Organa at one point.
Probably. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Easter egg.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
Tony Gilroy lied to us.
Yeah.
How could he?
By having to adhere to very specific canon, or else it would have been bad.
That's right, man. One offhand reference is all it takes.
But yeah, like the way they established the mission, there is that heist spy quality to it. It feels like a mission.
Yeah.
Like a real mission show and underdogs, and you feel the struggle. So I'm really liking it, and I hope more people get on board with it, because it is a really, to me, it's a great show, and it's so well fleshed out, and everyone's just, you could feel like a heart and soul and passion on all fronts on this one.
Yeah,
it's crazy that they let them really take their time with this one, and it doesn't seem that way with some other shows.
I know,
like Mandalorian, they're like, yeah, man, do it, man. But
go for it.
Boba Fett and
Keep it going.
Obi-Wan were like real up and down.
Real weird pace. Real weird pacing. I'll take a consistency of pace and tone over there.
Yeah, because I was like, this is kind of what I thought. I was hoping Obi-Wan would do in terms of the way the character, the way the pacing and the tone is, and how a lot of the character nuances in the mood and not in more plot.
Well, and it seems to come from the place of why are each of these people who they are, even if we're not seeing the grand majority of everyone's backstory. Like, even the Imperials feel more human, which to me is almost more scary, because you're like, oh, like you must have had to have developed this ideology, or at least had the seeds of it to be helped along later. And I think that's another thing is, they're really good at showing both angles. They're good at depicting the whole picture, as to you really get a sense intimately for who we're up against, not just the sort of, TIE fighters and totalitarianism, but you really see like the inner workings and how like even the people in the Imperial, in the Security Bureau and all those other places, like how they are really like bound and adhered and conditioned through all these situations. Like this fascinating, like oppressive lifestyle that so many people choose to lead. And then, the more ragtag ground level on the other side. And you even get moments like, I think spending so much time in Ferrix for the first 3 episodes was a nice touch too, because you really get a sense for just people living while we have this rebellion story brewing that then Cassian will eventually, leave to go pursue. But, you get that like, what are real people suffering during this? What are we really fighting for? And it's that,
Well, I think you hear often the word like goals and whys when it comes to writing characters. And the one other phrasing is one of the best ways to get audiences on board with characters is show the audience what their want is, what their wants are. And I think that's what the show does really well. I mean, that was really overt in the beginning with Cassian.
Yeah.
They flat out said, like, I know what you want. Here's your wants. And that's what gets you on board with characters. And that's what they were like. That's why you feel even though you don't agree with what Syril was doing, like you know what his wants are. This ISP officer lady, you know what her wants are. Obviously the rebellion, of course, you know what their wants are. And then the friction that Mothma and Luthen were having, the battle of wants. And I think this show does a really good job at showing us what the wants are, and that's why I think it can be very gripping. So yeah,
the wants and the needs.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here, and you can check out our Patreon page, and appreciate the support. And we will talk to y'all soon.